It's time for the Subnautica review for the Nintendo Switch. I had always wanted to try this game when I first heard about it, and I purposely stayed away the best I could from any information about it. I knew it was some type of survival exploring game based in an ocean, and I'm glad this is as much as I knew before starting, as I feel I got a more enjoyable experience out of it. You are a survivor of the Aurora,
Borealis?
a spaceship that has crash-landed on a mysterious ocean planet. Your life pod is your only companion, and with no other known life forms other than the local flora and fauna, it's your job to figure out how to survive. Doing so means venturing out into the unknown. Since your life pod is your shelter, the first thing you'll want to do is figure out how to scavenge for food and clean drinking water. Although most of your life pod's emergency facilities are down, the fabricator still works, and this will be your main way of obtaining food and water, as well as your crafting station for tools and equipment. The immediate area is a coral reef, brimming with life of all kinds. Many of the small fish are hard to catch, but fish aren't the only things you'll want to search for. Much of the plant life can be used as crafting materials, and the many rock outcrops hide certain elements. The fabricator has a handful of basic recipes to help you out, but some items are far more important than others in the beginning. For starters, building a larger air tank will let you explore underwater for longer, fins will help you swim faster, and the arguably most vital tool you'll want to craft is the scanner. With this, you'll be able to scan equipment and tools found all over the seafloor that most, if not all, aren't readily available when you first land on the planet. Most new scannable items you find are broken into fragments, and only when you scan enough fragments are you able to complete the blueprints for that item. A lot of the overall fun is just going around and trying to find scans of things to help you out. Some of what you can build are vehicles, which can vastly increase your exploration range, in addition to providing some shelter. Free swimming into the void isn't advised. Build yourself a sub first, then go exploring the deep. Each vehicle can be upgraded with various mods, such as letting you explore in deeper water without the vehicle being crushed, or defensive abilities like giving an electrical shock to unwanted visitors. Actually, going back to how far you can traverse down without getting damaged, this apparently only applies to the vehicle itself, as you are able to freely swim without taking any damage if you're down deep below. There were many times I was able to get out of the car at more than 1,000 meters down and not take any damage. I know we're mostly made of water, and this could explain why I don't take damage, but 1,000 meters? Really? I understand it's just a game, but a diving suit mod to justify why I'm able to survive that far down would have made more sense. On a side note, staying in your vehicle at great depths is highly advised. There are some pretty big nasties down there that would love to invite you for dinner. What really doesn't make sense is how I'm able to rise to the surface at a super fast rate without getting the bends. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad I can since I would have died a few times without being able to, but it's still a bit odd. Perhaps the character could have taken an HP hit if they did, but nothing actually happens. As you go through the campaign, you'll eventually find islands to explore. These were fun to find, but I noticed the graphics took a bit of a hit with anything above sea level. Underwater is filled with many aquatic creatures and plants, many of which are bioluminescent, and it all looks great. Above the water, however, isn't exactly the same. It doesn't look bad, but there's a difference, and it made me think of a Wii game. There were many pop-ins all over, whether in the water or not. This was quite jarring and unfortunate. I don't know if it's like this for the other platforms or the PC, but on Switch, pop-ups are guaranteed. Rendering the textures was an issue too. It didn't happen all the time, but way more than just a handful of instances. There were a few minor clipping glitches as well, but the biggest glitch was right here where a huge hallway and platform didn't render at all, as well as the ocean over here. The controls were fine for the most part. Your character has 5 quick slots at the bottom of the screen for fast use of items and tools. I wish the controls had more customization options, as the L and R shoulder buttons were respectively for ascending and descending while in the water, and I couldn't help but feel it should have been reversed. Not a huge deal, but it would have been nice to be able to swap them. Even though there are big creepies hiding in the depths, it's fun to just explore and see what you can find. There's no map, nor is there any in-game function to create a map, but perhaps that adds to the overall atmosphere. Exploring everything takes quite a while, and remembering to... What? The game crashed! Well, let's see when it last autosaved. What? There's no autosave? Yep, there's no autosave, and I lost everything.
No! 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 No!
Now, granted, I never did manually save within those 16 hours, but not having an autosave is by far the biggest flaw of the game, and in today's gaming world, autosave is pretty much expected. I can see how an autosave feature could break the immersion, but still, I'd rather the immersion break for a few seconds than lose a bunch of data. Alright, getting back to a positive note is the music. It's composed extremely well, with all of it being atmospheric. Subnautica is a great game, and one that I enjoyed to the very end. There's a story that unravels as you scan specific pieces of downloadable data, and the fact that the game doesn't hold your hand in telling you where to go or what to do next is just how it needs to be. There were a few things that I wish were different, such as the graphics not rendering well or at all, the pop-ins pretty much anywhere you went was annoying, I wish there were more mod options for the vehicles, and most importantly, there needs to be an autosave feature. This feels like the game I was hoping Astroneer would be, and it's funny, I originally bought this game for Lizzie, and she liked it at first, but she ultimately grew disinterested and instead loves Astroneer. Oppositely, I first enjoyed Astroneer, after getting used to the controls, but I ultimately quit and instead liked this game much more. If you enjoy survival exploration games, this is definitely a must-play. This game gets a 4.25 out of 5 with the title of Awesome.